Hello, everyone. Thank you for stopping by. Let's get to it. Today's hard truth is police can and do lie to obtain warrants and to trick suspects. Do police really have a knife sheath from the 1122 King Road crime scene? Things that have been happening lately have caused me to ask this question. I want to read a little bit of an article from the New York Times. It was posted by the Innocence Project, and it says, the New York Times published an article yesterday that documents the persistence of lies told by police to gain a conviction. Through their investigation, the Times discovered that in more than 25 instances since 2015, judges or prosecutors concluded that a New York City police officer likely presented false testimony. Such cases, most of which are sealed, were identified through interviews with lawyers, police officers, and current or former judges. These are some cases where the suspect got played or got tricked by police. And the first one is Marty Tankleff. Marty pled not guilty to killing his adoptive parents. He was the only one in the house when he called police, and he said he didn't know what happened. Well, the police told Marty his dad woke up from his coma in the hospital and told them that it was Marty who assaulted him and his wife. Upon hearing this, Marty confessed to killing his parents. He made a written confession, actually. Marty later retracted his confession, but he was convicted. The second case is Nicholas Naring. Nicholas claimed to be not guilty of shooting and killing Joseph Edward Ross. The police told Nicholas there was an eyewitness and video recordings of his truck at the scene. Upon hearing this, Nicholas confessed to killing Joseph and began to brag with bravado about how it happened. Why would the police lie about the knife sheath? That's a big question. It's also a big speculation to make about the law enforcement agencies in Idaho and Washington and Pennsylvania. Well, I want to read another article, a piece of it. It sheds a little light on this. Also from the New York Times, it says, why do police lie? According to the Times, in many circumstances, it's to avoid restrictions against unconstitutional stop and frisks. In other cases, the motive is to convict someone. Regardless of whether or not that person actually committed the crime, some officers have stated they are pressured by their supervisors to write more tickets, to reach an arrest quota, or to close a case. And it goes on and gives some statistics of the overwhelming number of cases that go through the New York City system where the defendant never even goes to trial, which means that the evidence against him or her is never challenged because they take a plea deal. Okay. My findings for this investigation, based on some of the media reports and also some articles that I've read and testimonies. All right, number one, could the police be lying about the knife sheath? Yes, absolutely. The search warrant mentions looking for a sheath 2 months after the fact, and they said in the probable cause affidavit that they had the knife uh, beforehand, and so that's a little sketchy. Were they trying to pressure Kohlberger into a plea deal? Yes. I think that's the only reason they would say that they have a sheath with his DNA and they don't, is to make him feel that, okay, whether they have that sheath or not, they've got other evidence. They know it's me. I can't beat this. Let me beat the death penalty, along those lines. Okay, but that's not what happened, is it? All right. Is it possible that this case will not make it past the preliminary hearing? Yes. Again, absolutely. The evidence pointing to Kohlberger is based on DNA evidence on a knife sheath found at the scene. This is the only thing that really places him remotely close to this case. Other than that, it's really just up in the air. Phone pings and sightings of cars that could be his, most likely are not his. As a matter of fact, I made a video before showing that the cars in 4 of the sightings are not his. And so without the knife sheath and Diem's testimony, which could go both ways for prosecution or the defense, they really don't have a case. All right, so let's move on. Does this mean Kohlberger is innocent? No, absolutely not. It may just mean that they're underestimating Ryan Kohlberger and that they thought that they could just have a slam dunk case and get him to run in and take a plea deal. Everything would be over with because he's really a laid back, not really a public figure, and he looks kind of passive, and he looks like somebody they could prove is psychologically bankrupt. And so maybe that has something to do with it. Maybe he did it, but their approach to convicting him will help him to get off because they're not proving it in a way that will stick. Or there'll be so many technicalities that the judge will throw it out. Last but not least, what does it all mean? I think this all means that Kohlberger knows whether or not he was at King Road, committed those murders, and whether he left something in that house. He knows. And so he didn't ask for a plea deal. He's willing to sit in jail for 6 months while his lawyer prepares his case. And so he knows, and law enforcement know, that their evidence is going to be challenged at some point. And so in the next few months, I expect law enforcement to start walking back some of the statements they've made, walking back some of the evidence they claim they had, slowly but surely saying, well, we thought this at one point, but we just found out that it's this now. I expect to hear a lot of that in the next 4 weeks is what I expect. But I could be wrong. All right. What do you think? Be sure to leave your comments in this discussion post. Let's get a discussion going about this. There's another case that you would like to hear about. I'd love to hear your requests. Thank you so much for stopping by. Until next time.